Hey homeowners, Francis here. In today's video, we're going to talk about your neighbours and more specifically, the wall between you. So if you're planning a home extension, before you jump into construction, there's one crucial piece of the puzzle you can't overlook: the Party Wall Act. Many people either don't know about this or they leave it too late and they end up fighting with their neighbours, which costs thousands of pounds to resolve and delays their building work. I'm going to show you what the Party Wall Act is and why it's so important for UK homeowners. By the end of this video, you'll know how to keep your neighbours happy, your extension legal, and the building work on track. The Party Wall Act sounds a bit technical, but at its core, it's a piece of UK legislation designed to keep the peace when doing any building work on or near a shared boundary with your neighbours. It ensures that both you and they are happy with and aware of the building work that will take place. If you're planning an extension and have neighbours, this will apply to you. So when does the Party Wall Act come into play? There are three main scenarios where you need to know about it. Number one, building new structures on or near a boundary. The Act applies if you're putting up a new wall or building close to a boundary, like an extension. Number two, modifying a shared wall. Doing any work to a wall you share with your neighbour, like removing a chimney breast or underpinning, also applies. Number three, excavating near your neighbour's foundation. Any digging within 3 metres of a neighbouring building, or even 6 metres in some cases, falls under this law. If your project meets any of these conditions, the next step is to serve a Party Wall notice. This notice lets your neighbours know exactly what work you're planning and gives them a chance to agree or raise any concerns. There are three types of Party Wall notice. Section 1, line of junction notice for new builds on or near a boundary. Section 3, party structure notice for work on existing boundary walls. Section 6, adjacent excavation notice for any digging close to your neighbour's property. You'll want to serve the notice at least 2 months before building work starts to give everyone enough time to review it and respond. When you serve a Party Wall notice, you must clearly describe the work you're planning, the exact location, and any relevant architectural plans or engineering drawings. Once your neighbour receives the notice, they have 14 days to respond. But heads up, if they don't respond within that time, the project is legally considered in dispute, even if they just forgot to reply. To help with this, you should include a pre-written agreement letter with the notice, which they can simply sign and return if they agree. Let's say your neighbour isn't thrilled with your plans, or maybe they just don't respond. At that point, you'll be in dispute. You'll then need to appoint a Party Wall surveyor, who will act as a neutral expert to help mediate and ensure everything's above board. The Party Wall Act states that you, the person carrying out the work, cover the surveyor fees. And if your neighbour appoints their own surveyor, you could be covering their fees too. Next, we have the Party Wall Award. This is a legally binding document created by your surveyor, and it outlines the work you're doing, when it can happen, and even an agreement for covering any potential damage. It's like an insurance policy for both you and your neighbour. Part of this process includes a schedule of condition. This is a record, usually a photographic one, of your neighbour's property before work begins. It's not required by law, but it's highly recommended. If any accidental damage happens, you'll have the proof of the original condition, making resolving any issues much easier. So let's talk numbers. On average, a Party Wall surveyor will charge from £700 to £1,000. If multiple neighbours are affected, and each appoints their own surveyor, that can add up fast. But here's a quick tip to keep things smooth. Communicate early. Before you even submit the Party Wall notice, have an informal chat with your neighbour about your plans. Explain the notice, let them know the timelines, and encourage them to respond within that 14-day window. Good communication can potentially avoid the need for a Party Wall surveyor altogether. Here's a quick step-by-step guide for serving a Party Wall notice. Check whether your project affects a boundary, shared walls, or involves excavation. Make sure you include all the necessary info, like a description of the work, the location, and any relevant plans or drawings. You can hand deliver it, send it by post, or even email it. When you do, remind them of the 14-day timeframe. If there's no response in 14 days, contact them again before taking the next legal steps. If needed, bring in a surveyor to prepare a party wall award. By keeping your neighbours informed, communicating with them early on, and following these steps, you'll avoid disputes and delays and keep your extension on track. For more help with all the stages of your project, download my free home extension planner to navigate this process and get it right first time.